In this video, guys, we're dealing with the steering stem bearings. We got to get these ones replaced in our 2004 CR250. They came out pretty beat up. They're just dry and been abused. So let's get to it and see how far we get. So the biggest part for me when it comes to trying to get this stuff apart is trying to get these off. Now I've seen guys cut them, I've seen them do all sorts of stuff. I like to soak them down the day before with this PB blaster. This stuff, I don't know if you can get it in the States. We just buy it here at Princess Auto, which is like Harbor Freight. And the stuff just works. So we just soak it in. It bubbles and it's gonna get in there and eat any dirt and crud away. Lots down in there, so it goes down through the bottom one. And then we're gonna let it sit overnight. This stuff actually acts pretty quick, but we're gonna let it sit overnight because it's getting late. And pull her out tomorrow for you. So guys, what we're gonna do here is we've got it up on a block. So when we hit this with a chisel or a punch, I'm not sure how it's gonna come out yet. We don't drive it clean into the cement. We don't wanna break any of the aluminum or anything like that. We want to have it elevated so it can come out of there. So you guys can see down in there that it extends past, so you can get a hold of it with the punch. And we soaked it pretty good, so we'll see if it comes out. Right out of there, no problem. So traditionally, these can be a giant pain in the butt, but by letting them soak overnight with a little bit of penetrating oil on there, that stuff really gets underneath and breaks free. Because the difference in metal from aluminum to carbon or stainless or whatever this is harder metal. There's becomes an interference. It's a difference in metals. It'll oxidize and wedge itself right in. We'll flip it over. Still some moisture inside the frame from us doing all the washing. And we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna drive it out. Then we're gonna go through and clean up all this this area here. All right, so I always keep a little pail of just some cut off 2x6s, 2x4s, just to have around. It's good to have some blocking. So, you know, every guy or girl, I guess, should have some blocking lay around in their shop. That's for my 2% female viewership. Hey, we're gonna drive out the upper one now. Just working our way around both sides. There, she's gone out. Perfect. So now we're onto the triple tree, and we got to get this bearing off. This is obviously the bottom. That's the top where the handlebars go. I've got it upside down on this blocking to help me support it while I try and chip away and get that to drive down. It's driven on. You drive it on with another special tool. This is just a normal chisel. I'm gonna support it with my knee. Shouldn't be that hard with that spray, but it might be. You don't want to cut up, scar this up real bad. If we do nick it, we can buff it. But what we really want to do is get underneath. She's still stuck on there pretty good. We're going to soak it up with a little more penetrating oil. So I hope you guys can see this. We're starting to get a little bit of a gap here between here and the bearing. So we're going to, I'm running out of penetrant here. That's not good. To get stocked back up. We're gonna soak it up in there, soak the top, let her sit here for a second, and hopefully dig on in there so we can get this stupid thing off. So, all right, now's our chance, I think. Let's see. I'm gonna have to stand on it, guys. He is moving. There we go. Finally. Oh. Perfect. So basically what we have to do now, guys, we got the simple green. If you had a parts washer, like a tank of mineral spirits or Varsol or whatever, you could soak this in and get her scrubbed up real good. I don't have one here in this garage, so we make do with the simple green. So our bearing kit comes with the top and bottom bearing. They're the same bearing for this bike. We're gonna open up the kit. The bearing is wrapped separately. Now there's no grease in this bearing. We're gonna have to grease it, but we're gonna have to press these in. So we're gonna use our Maximus grease. So low friction, high temperature, all sorts of stuff. But if you read the back, the key here is going to be the extreme, sorry, maybe you guys can see it, the extreme pressure grease. So this is what we want for these bearings. And as far as the grease goes, we're going to put a lot of grease because this is the only time it's going to get grease. We're going to put grease on the inside, on the outside of it, everywhere here. Like a lot of grease. And the top one goes with the collar tapered for the bearing to go in, obviously, and the bottom one does the same. All right, so we're back on the floor using a block of wood to help us here. We've got a kit. This is a Tusk kit. So this kit comes with all sorts of stuff. This is the driving part. We're gonna install it, get it roughly seated. Almost seated all the way. Just a little low on this side, a little high on the other, so. You hear the change when you bottom out. That's all the way in. So I've got this bearing press kit from Tusk, and how it works is you slide it up in. Sometimes you really need them, and sometimes you don't. I don't think we need it for the top, but since we have it, we might as well use it. You spin this sucker on, the thing always goes to the top. Then it presses it in, if I can hold the frame still. Normally guys got the rest of their bike together. Yeah, it's pushing equal, it's equal there. So what I'm checking is on the bottom here, I want to make sure it's flush and there's no difference in gap, and on the top that it's flush and there's no gap change either, so everything's straight. And then simply keep pushing it till it's all the way in. Ours is all the way in up top. I can check it with my hand or a pick, but just wanted to show you guys how this is used. And you flip it, but leave this at the top, but flip your press part for the bottom. So I've got a flashlight here to try and show you guys better. The lip here is consistent all the way around the top. So we have a good lip there. And under here, there's no lip. The race is seated all the way down. So that's really good. So here's the lip on the bottom I was talking about. You can clearly see there's a big lip for this race to catch on. So when the race goes down in this direction, with the flat side down and the taper side up, so that when the bearing goes in, it has somewhere to rest and press into. The same process, we're gonna put a pile of grease in here. I've got a big wad on my hand. And I want to get it all up in there. And, oh, there's going to be extra grease inside the tube. That's fine. Your seals, keep it good. Everything's good. We're going to put lots of grease on our thing going in. One side here. And you hear that change. but she's seated all the way down. Yeah, right tight. So now we're gonna install our bearing on our lower here. First things first, we need to get a seal on there, guys. I put it on right away so we don't get into a hurry trying to pound on the bearing and then realize, oh no, we forgot the seal. So the seal on the bottom goes up so it's like a bowl. Makes sense? So I'm by no means a pro at getting the grease in the bearing. It was kind of a thing that happened before my time. So, but obviously these bearings need it. So we're gonna take some grease and put it in our hand, like the palm of our hand. And then we're gonna just push it in. And scooping it. And yeah, we're getting a bunch of grease on there, but we gotta scoop it into the bearing, into all the wheels. You press it in. Oh, here, I'm trying to show you guys. I'm taking it and I'm pushing it in, cupping it in. Look at there's an opening on the back. We might as well push it in that way. Like I said, I'm not a pro at this. My dad will be watching this video. He'll be laughing at me. I'm going, what the hell? Look at the mess you've made. But you know what? Our bearing's going to be full of grease. So this is probably the most important part of installing the bearings onto the shaft, is where do you hit the bearing? So you get yourself a tool or a pipe, and you don't hit this outside part, you need to hit the inside. That's the strong part. You hit this outside, you wreck your bearing. So Tusk makes this cool little kit. This one here slides completely over the shaft, goes down, and only touches, because it's tapered, just like this green one, has a different size going down. So the red one's the one we need. And then the pipe goes on top, slides inside, and then you hit the pipe and you drive your bearing home. So doing a steering stem, you know, you gotta buy tools. For me, these tools I needed because I do a bunch of bikes. But it might be more affordable for you guys to get it done by a local shop. I don't know. So it's really not a hard job to do. And there, we're just driving it. You hear it, it's hitting bottom. Just gonna check it. So you can see there's no gap between the bottom of the triple clear tree here and the bearing. Well, the seal goes on and then the bearing, but there's no space. So it's driven all the way down. The bearing spins freely, other than it's greasy. But yeah, that's all there is to put that bottom bearing on. And we're just putting the grease on thick because we're not going to get another chance to do this. I'm going to drop that in there. That's it. We're going to put our top bearing in. We've got our seal out of the package, ready to go. Oh, bearing's been greased already. Got it laying on the package. Of course, the package is covered in grease. We're going to get a lot more grease. Like I said, you want to lay it on thick. We want it all up in there. This bearing's already been greased. We're going to slide it on. Now the seal. The seal goes down this time instead of up. The bowl keeping the grease in. Don't mind my horrible mess here. Now our next part is the collar. We're gonna have to adjust that collar. We have a special wrench for it. I don't know how much you guys can see. Am I blocking the damn footage? No. Probably. Then there's a washer. And then the last nut. So what we have to do now, guys, is get at least one fork tube back in the bike. We don't care which way it's pointing. We don't care too much about any of that. All we really care about is that it helps us line up the top and bottom. So you can see I've got it in the tubes there. It's a little tight. Just a quarter turn. Falls over pretty good. Now I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this without having the bike fully back together, because I'm supposed to torque this nut to 80. Now I've got my torque wrench set to 80, but I don't know if my ratchet strap set up that's holding this frame to the will allow me to do 80. We'll see. There we go. Yeah. Okay. They're good ratchet straps. Well, the steering stem bearings are done on the 04 CR here. Now, we used a few specialty tools. We drove the bearing on with a special bearing driving kit, but really all that kit is a properly sized pipe. So if you're just doing one and you can get a pipe and drive it on, that would probably be the way to go. It's handy having the tools, that's why I have them. And as far as using a press to press in the outer races of the bearings, you could use a threaded rod with 2 properly sized washers and you know, some nuts and crank them in, and that would do the job too, and seat them level. But anyway, guys, thanks a lot for watching. Like and subscribe to videos. Leave me a comment, especially if there's something else that you guys do when you guys do your steering stem bearings, or you're wondering why I didn't do something a certain way. Leave that message down below. Let me know. But anyway, we'll see you guys in the next one.